wall of the plaza and pooling on the ground. The water then entered the stream at the edge of the property and flowed south. He suggested this drainage issue be solved before a new use at the plaza is even permitted. Also, the parking lot itself is designed for cars, not heavy trucks, especially ones with large dump bodies. The lot needs to be torn out and replaced with enough base material to withstand the daily pressure from the expected heavy use of these large semi-trucks that are apparently coming from a 500-mile radius. And these are some concerns that we have because the site as it currently stands is not suited for this use. Even though in the code it says light industry, even the Livingston County Planning Board said, several of them said this is heavy industry. They were looking for a definition of heavy industry and we couldn't tell them at the meeting that there is none in our code. But nonetheless, that's what would be going on. And the reason I have been videotaping this is because I have had neighbors constantly asking me to give them information. And it's like following a bouncing ball because everything changes every time I go to a new meeting. I have information on here going back to the public informational meeting that Mr. Valle and his associates held with the public at the Avon Middle School auditorium. It was December 27th of last year. And in it, you will hear information that contradicts some of the stuff that has been discussed or changed over the past few months. And then if you compare it to other meetings with the Livingston County Planning Board, the town boards as well, you'll also see discrepancies. Nothing seems to change, for lack of a better word, nothing seems to be concrete. And that's just a concern of ours. And we just think that these issues should be addressed, such as, an example, the sound issue. I saw the acoustical report by Dr. Frank Ciaramano. And it said in there, he used the word hypothetical because no technology exists like this. And he said the range was from 32 to 40 decibels. It didn't specify if it was turned on or not, but I'm not an expert by any means in sound, but I know enough to know that 32 to 40 decibels means that it would be quieter than our conversation right now. And it's very hard for me to believe some of this information and that a lot of it's being taken at face value. I'm a teacher, and I know that you always do your homework. And those are just my comments.
Thank you. Just wanted to address the issue of a drainage ditch behind the plaza. It's not a drainage ditch, it's a creek.
Yeah.
When that plaza was originally built, if you look at the maps before the plaza was built, there was a creek that went right through the plaza.
That's right.
They rerouted it.
That's right.
It's still a creek.
That's right.
And the drainage off of the roof on the building does dump right onto the driveway, or onto the pavement. That's the way the building has always been since they built it.
Thank you.
That'll never change. So the water does go back to that creek. So, I don't know how it floods anybody's property. It's behind the building and it goes off into the fields behind this property. So how does it flood anybody's property?
Well, this was an eyewitness account.
No, we're not going to get into back
I understand.
and forth or
Okay.
any type of rebuttals. Thank you. These are all facts and considerations to
Excuse me.
board.
Said creek runs by our house and it's eaten our property away for years because they rerouted a natural stream or creek or whatever, which is not something you can do, I imagine, because it keeps eating my property away.
Thank you. Anybody else? Zero.
Just one statement.
I'll give you 30 seconds, Judy, because you have 5 minutes. And
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in 8 months. Not bad. Okay. When the county did the review, they had a statement back from the DOT that said there wouldn't be an impact on our roads, and that was based on a weekly amount of 10 trucks and not the number of employee cars. I'm most concerned about that because of where I live. I'm also very concerned about the breathing matter. I have some issues with breathing. I'm concerned.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to, Jimmy.
Just real quick.
Please.
James Harrington.
No, you have 5. You have 5 minutes.
No, I'm not taking 5 minutes, trust me. I'm at 157 East Main Street.
I'm putting the clock up.
You know you
We've heard it.
There was a comment last night made from the town people that the only people supporting Mike Valle and his team was people in the village. People that don't know what's behind my backyard happens to be the school, where I have to deal with 26 school buses coming out of Hullbar Road, my street, Lacey Street, or Temple Street. So I have to deal with those school buses,
Right.
not once a day, but 4 times a day. So I have Barilla, the trucks from Barilla, I have the trucks from Kraft that have to hit 390. So the village people basically have more traffic than you people think of. And I'm not trying to degrade people from Royal Springs or you, Mrs. Bailey. I just don't think you understand that Avon is a small community that basically has 3,000 manufacturing jobs. And I don't consider Mike Valle's thing as heavy industrial. I think they should be very well welcomed to our town. They have completed every concern that the people have, from dust to noise to pollution to this or that. I think they've done a great job of making everything possible so no one gets affected by anything. So hats off to them. Hopefully they get welcomed to our town.
Thank you. I'm gonna make a motion to close the hearing.
Yeah.
All in favor?
That's good to me.
The planning board meets the first Tuesday of June. The zoning board of appeals is meeting May 18th, I believe. And they're gonna probably make a decision on the special use permit. Then it's gonna come back to the planning board. If they do not approve the special use permit, then it's a moot point for site plan. But we'll be meeting here the first Tuesday of June. Mr. Burke.
I would strongly encourage this board to meet the same night as the zoning board of appeals. I think we've come this far just because we meet the first Tuesday of June. I think what the expectation was, now it's different, the expectation was something would happen last night and tonight. I think it's in your purview to hold a meeting the same night, coincident with the zoning board of appeals, so this thing can be approved.
It's an open hearing. You know, any,
It can be adjourned and reconvened.
well, our hearing's closed, the site plan
Right.
review hearing,
It's talking about ZBA.
but the ZBA,
It's
They're-
closed.
It's gonna be
It's
re-
closed.
Yes, it is.
they did close it.
Closed.
And so they didn't adjourn it, but it's a open meeting, it's a public meeting.
This meeting can be the same night.
I wouldn't know the same, because you don't know how long they were gonna be.
No, I don't, you know, it's two separate processes, it's two different boards, you know, we did have a special meeting on May 20th, you know, when we think, there's strong issues involved, and,
Well, yeah, there's one other factor, is there could be things that come out of that, zoning board of appeals meeting that recommend some changes that they make as far as their plan for the special use permit.
right, and then we'd have
And
to,
then if we try to meet that night or the very next night, that doesn't give them time.
When you're meeting the next night, they met last night. If that were the case, you wouldn't hold this meeting tonight, right?
Yeah.
They met last night.
Well,
they traditionally, the zoning board of appeals meets on like the fourth Monday of the
Yeah.
month.
Their meeting would normally have been the previous
Yeah,
Monday.
right.
They delayed it a week, which made them bump up to our
Yes,
meeting.
that
It
wasn't
was
the
their fault,
expectation.
right.
And what happens is, this room isn't always like available, you know, town board twice a month, and, you know, there's other court. But, no, I think, cause there will be, if issues come out of that meeting, which we have, as a planning board, have to address. You know, it's just,
Well, and I don't hear the applicant asking for it.
well, I'm sure they would love to get it over as soon
Yeah,
as possible.
but I mean,
But I see what you're saying, Richard, but I don't see why we should.
Do you want me to ask for it? I will. I didn't know I could. But if I
well,
can,
he can.
I consider it being asked.
No, that's not the way it works. It's not the way it works.
So, we're gonna wait till June.
First Tuesday of June, yes.
Is it normal protocol you have a public hearing but not vote on the issue afterwards?
It's their choice.
Site plan, it's at the discretion. We do not have to have public hearings for site plans. Probably my tenure, 15 years on the planning board, I've probably had, I can count on one hand the number of hearings we've had. Zoning Board of Appeals has to have a hearing for public input. Now, many of our meetings, the planning board for site plan review, if people come, the public, we will entertain questions and talk to them. But we scheduled a hearing because of the public issues.
My question was, after the hearing is closed, like this just closed,
Correct.
don't you hold a vote amongst your committee so that we understand?
No, we can't. We've already made a positive recommendation. We made a positive recommendation to the zoning board of appeals for granting a special use permit. So the ball is in the board of appeals. They have to say yes or no. If they say yes, it comes back to us for site plan approval. That's how it works. We've already made a positive recommendation to the zoning board of appeals to grant the special use permit. And that was done on April, which we scheduled a special meeting. Correct.
Is that enough?
You have a feeling you didn't expect the zoning board to hold open last.
Bob, I'd like to ask one question. Last night, they said at the zoning board, they said that the 18th meeting was not going to be a public forum for discussion. It was purely yes or no.
It's a public meeting. Anybody can come to a public meeting, but they don't have to answer any questions from the public. It's, well, because they closed the hearing. So it is not a hearing.
It's a meeting, it's a public
It's-
meeting,
it's a
anyone
public
can
meeting.
attend,
Anybody
but
can-
they don't have to take
Right.
any testimony. I believe the
Now,
intent was just to. give
Many
response.
times,
Thank you.
they will hold a hearing open, but that's not the case. I didn't stay late last
Yeah, they
night.
closed it.
And they closed the hearing, but it's not unusual for them to not close it and keep it open until the next meeting. So basically, when they meet on the 18th, nobody from the public can really speak.
Exactly.
Now, occasionally, you use common sense and discretion, like we closed the hearing here, but I'm speaking with you. I'm speaking with Mr. Burke, you know, certainly.
No, I know you left.
I just want to go back and forth and get them
I
like
just said you
involved.
left a little bit early, and you didn't hear that they closed the meeting, so there's not gonna be any public comment.
Correct,
They're
that's
just gonna
correct.
say yes or no.
Yeah, you're here, yeah, it's a public, now,
And if they say no, then it makes your meeting on the 1st of June irrelevant.
exactly, correct,
So it's
Correct.
really over on the 18th,
correct.
Yeah.
as far as if they say no. If they say yes,
It's
then you're gonna hold up Mr. Valle another 2 weeks, which
No,
is
one
already
more.
been held up for a year.
2 weeks.
So, I mean, why hold them up? I mean, what's the point of holding them up? If they say yes, what's the point of dragging it out?
Well,
That's all.
Because we have other applicants that are gonna be on.
yes, yes, it's just not,
scheduled meeting.
and we did have a special meeting last month, just so, and that is a town expense. And, you know, meetings all serve a purpose, and I don't wanna thank everybody that came out tonight. I think you know, it's a process. Site plan review is a dynamic process. Things change with time. You know, when an applicant comes in the very beginning, it's not unusual for changes to be made at the demands of the planning board and other state agencies. I just wanna make one comment, it's personal. If big trucks start coming rolling down 5 and 20, I guarantee you the state troopers and the sheriffs are gonna be there in a heartbeat. And we have to rely on other agencies in the state, in the town, and in the federal government. You know, there's only so many things that the planning board, we're given the code book and site plan review, but I can guarantee you, just from my experience, is if you got big trucks coming through there and they're overweight, the state troopers are gonna be all over them.
Only if they know about it.
They know.
They know.
Yeah, well,
I saw
Yeah.
one of these trucks today coming on, I was coming off 39, taking a right up on 5 and 20, and the train had come through, so that there are all these big bottleneck, and one of these guys came through looking just like this with a gray tarp on top. That's what we're probably gonna be seeing. I'm just saying, with the dump bodies and things like that.
any other business plans? Any, huh?
No,
Our meeting's over. You're right. I will entertain a motion to close the meeting. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Sharman, seconds it. All in favor of closing tonight's meeting?
Aye.
Thank you,
He wants to
everybody.
rush this so he can
Buy an ice
sell
cream
his
and sprinkles.
plaza. Good for him.
They're closed, right?